My mom told me not to talk to strangers on the internet, but I'm glad I didn't listen. We are the Certified Noonas, your sisters in the love of Asian entertainment.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
I'm Jessie.
I'm Natalia.
And I'm Sky.
And we are back from vacation. It was
Yay!
a long one. I sort of forgot how to do all this, but
It's been a while since we've seen each other.
It has been. And we're back and we're ready to chat our favorite thing in the world, which is Asian entertainment. And what better episode to come back on but to tell you all the stuff we were watching while we were on vacation. So that's what we're doing today. We're doing a special, well, it's technically the August what we're watching, but it's coming out on September 2nd. But listen, don't matter.
What is time?
Time is a meaningless construct. It's like August plus, a couple until after Labor Day.
In fairness, we are recording this August 29th.
That's true.
So
we are in August currently.
We are still in August when we're recording this. So that's what we're gonna do, which is if you are new to what we're watching, if you've somehow just found us, welcome. We basically just tell y'all what shows we were watching that we liked. And maybe you'll want to check them out too. That's it. That's the whole premise of this monthly episode we do, and the people love it.
And we talk about kind of two main ones each. Like we go in a circle essentially, and then we have a roundup at the end.
Quick roundup of all the other stuff because it's rarely ever just. So we are gonna start with Jessie, and Jessie's gonna tell us a show she's been watching. So Jessie, take it away.
So if you know me, you know that I'm not really a romance drama person very much.
The gasp.
Yeah, I know, right? And one of the romance tropes that I kind of have been about too, additionally on top of that is enemies to lovers. Not necessarily hating it, but a lot of the times the enemies to lovers is in a weird spot. One is too much of an enemy and never redeems themselves enough, Or
it's not enough of an enemy. That's just someone you just kind of don't like. That's
so, this drama that I was watching, I realized something about it, and that I am okay with enemies to lovers when you can tell in the very beginning that even though they're enemies, they absolutely are into each other. From the moment that
there's kind of that obsession.
There's already an obsession.
Sure. So yes.
I found that out while watching The Devil Judge.
Hell yes.
Which is the drama that I'm watching, which is definitely not a romance. I'm just joking.
Does that say the rom-com The Devil Judge?
The rom-com Devil Judge. Enemies to lovers. It is.
There's romance if you believe there's
really
romance.
There, actually. You don't even have to believe it. It's just there and just they give it to you. Really, in another world, this would be a romance. I know that Natalia has talked about it before on the podcast, but I randomly started watching it and I'm really into it. I'm going very slow, mostly because of things I'll talk about later on. I just limited in free time of watching stuff, but I was man, I really want to pick up something, and I went over to Netflix and it was there, and I was remember that time Natalia was you should watch this, and you never did. And so I did, and I it hooked me from the very beginning, which is also kind of interesting too, because I'm not super into law stuff. We kind of talked about that in our episode. We did a law episode. I'm not super into law stuff, but it works for this show. So the basic premise of the show, if you haven't seen it, is that we're living in a dystopian Korea, and it's very corrupt. And people are very pissed off. The general public is very pissed off, and they're starting to try to take back. They've reached their breaking point essentially, and so they decide to create this reality TV show where a judge hears cases, and then the listening / watching audience gets to like participate almost, like they get to like be able to like vote in some of these cases, and then the judge like figures out the final like verdict and like gives what he thinks that like he should be. The judge is played by Ji-sung, and he's incredible in this drama. The cases are like really bad people too, so it's not like just like frivolous things. It's like really like bad stuff happening. But like he's just so like just morally all over the place, and it makes it so good. And the way he is, I mean, like, it's Ji-sung, so like, yeah, obviously he's good. It's just like the character himself is just, I don't even know how to like really accurately describe the type of person he is. He's sort
of like an amoral asshole who's actually not as bad as he might seem, but
chaotic neutral.
He's more towards evil than neutral. Like he's in like a weird, but he's definitely chaotic.
He's very much chaotic.
Oh my god, it's such a good show.
It's so good. It also stars.
It is so stylized too. Like it's very pretty.
Yeah.
Like
it stars his romance is
romance partner
Young from GOT7. No, he has two like what are they? They're the what are their
like the co-judges,
like
the
junior judges.
I don't know the legal that like are on it with him, and then also what's her name? Ed Flynn's sister.
Yeah, the sister in Rainbow. All that.
Yeah,
her.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm like trying to like.
She's great. She's always great.
Yeah,
she's delightful in this as well,
and she's like so like fun too because she's like not from Seoul, and so she's like kind of like the country girl, but like she's just like very excited to be doing it, and she also like is very clearly excited to be like on TV as well, and like meanwhile, GOT7 Kid is just like, I just want people to be persecuted, but like also want to like save everyone as well. Which is
he's like so moral and so upright that contrasted with Ji-sung, it's like so good because he has,
and that's
like,
why they're
man is horrible.
Enemies to lovers. Perfect.
Like the tension is so thick. You can cut it with a friggin' knife.
Ridiculous.
Well, and really, the moment they meet, Ji-sung's character is like smirking, going, "Oh, he's interesting.
Yeah,
this is fun."
Yeah.
Listen, the Devil Judge would have straight up been a gay show if Korea had the balls. And Ji-sung was like, "Oh, this is a gay show." Like Ji-sung 100% was like, "Oh, I'm gay for this character," and that's how he plays it the entire time.
And like when I say like enemies to lovers, like I'm kind of not actually joking. It really is actually set up like an enemies to lovers between the two of them.
Yeah.
Like the like female like person who's supposed to be the romantic interest is like so boring in comparison to anything that like
just doing nothing. It's not the actress's fault. It's completely how the character is written
at all.
She is giving nothing.
And like Ji-sung definitely was like, I have eyes for only that boy over there. Like, and like he's adorable. Like, so yeah, we get it. But it's just, I mean, like he spends his time just like staring at him.
Yeah.
Like it just you're like
and just like finding excuses to be shirtless around him all the time, and you're like, Ji-sung, calm down. This seems unnecessary.
I'm wearing a robe.
I'm just getting out of bed. It's nude. Don't worry about it. Like but the show is actually really interesting also. So like
it's really fascinating. Very well written. It's a lot of fun.
Really well done show.
Yeah, it's complex, and it's got a lot of things going on. There's a lot of corruption. There's a lot of intrigue. Like it's set in a dystopian Korea, but it's not. It's pretty much like reality. It's not like we're so like far removed from what the reality of everything is, and nowadays anyways. And it does a lot of stuff, and I'm very much into it and very much want to just like binge it all, but I am like, no, Jessie, you have something else to
you have
do
a job.
that you
Jessie, you have to do work,
purpose.
Jessie. But Jessie, you have other things going on, Jessie.
Yeah, I'll just like watch a couple of episodes and then think about it all the time. But it's really great. So I said it's on Netflix. I'm pretty sure it's still on Viki. So you have options to watch it, and if you haven't started it, you should.
100% you should. Unlike Jessie, I am a rom-com enjoyer. And but like Jessie as well, I am a gay enjoyer as well. I like a good BL, and I like a good BL rom-com. And I started one that started a couple weeks ago. There's, as of this recording, there are 6 episodes out, and I have watched all 6. And it is called Monster Next Door. It is on WeTV and Gagulala for anyone looking to watch it. And I am obsessed. Because there's something that I like in a rom-com, and that's when it's earnest. Like when you can tell like that there's like this real like genuine earnestness behind it. Like people are like, yes, we want to tell like a sweet, fun story for you with characters that don't make confusing decisions outside of their characters. And this show has done this. Now the premise as like given is there's 2 college boys and like sort of a Romeo and Juliet, like of equal stature, of different personality. One of them, Diu, is like an extreme introvert who special interest is turtles. I'm gonna get back into this for a second because I have a theory about this show. And he's a college student, and he's very introverted, and he only has one friend, and he's very awkward, and he lives in a little apartment. And then meanwhile, college hotshot named Got, who is like super outgoing, very golden retriever energy, buff dude, loves playing the drums, plays basketball, has a bunch of friends, loves partying, but is a nice guy, moves in next door to him at their apartment building. And Diu's so quiet that God doesn't think anyone lives on his floor because there's never any noise. So he's like having parties. He's having a good time with his friends. They're, and then Diu has had enough and leaves a note that is like, hey man, like I have, exams. Can we like, cut down the noise just a little? Like, I don't want to start anything, but like just a little. And God's like, oh shit, there was a guy living next door. Like, I am so sorry. So he's trying to give him like apology candy that Dukas keeps like being like, no, I'm not accepting this. I'm returning it. And he's like, I'm gonna figure out what you're into. Like, I'm gonna figure out what you like. And then they start having conversations on their balconies with one another without ever looking at each other. And God has already seen him. Like, and knows what he looks like, and immediately has fallen in love with him. But Diu's like, oh, I'm not like really ready for that. And so God's like, oh yeah, we can like, we'll just become friends over this balcony. And then, romance is coming from that. And it's very sweet and very earnest. Now, here's my one thing about this show is that they're like, oh, this is just a normal, regular old introvert, but I'm just going to tell you how they've characterized this character, and then you can make your own conclusions about what this show is. He just an introvert, or is there something else going on? He gets very overstimulated by loud noises, so he always has headphones so he can turn on music to block things out. He has an extreme special interest in turtles and has a pet turtle called Kunshai, who he talks to all day and does puzzles while talking to his turtle. He has exactly one friend, and otherwise he has trouble looking people in the eye. He can't do public presentations without having panic attacks. And I'm just sitting here like, okay, like, I get what's happening here. He is introverted, but I think there's something else going on.
There's some neurospice happening up in here.
There's a little, there's some spectrum situation happening with this character that is just like being completely just sort of like, nope, this is what introverts are like. And I'm like, well, there is a subsection of introverts that are very much like this, but he's very sweet. But the other guy he's such just like a nice, beefy, slightly dumb but sweet guy that you're just like,
we do love a himbo.
Yes. Oh, he's very much a himbo, but like he's just so earnest and he's just so kind that I am obsessed with this show. And if you are a fellow BL rom-com enjoyer, I think you would like this. There's also, like, you know how every one of these shows, there has to be, like, one really nasty lady character for no reason who, like, just hasn't quite clued in to, like, gay people dating each other yet. Well, when I tell you, there is a scene where Got, like, sees her being nasty and immediately is like, no, we're not doing this. You don't get to treat people this way. That I was like, shit, what's happening? What's actually happening? There's also like a B plot with like his two best friends who definitely aren't dating, but they live together and like only have one bed and they do everything together. And you're just like, okay, sure.
Okay.
And then like the fourth member of the group is this delightful, outgoing lady who's just like, yeah, we just having a good time. It's lovely. The show is lovely, and I think a lot of people would enjoy it, and I see it continuing to be lovely for the rest of its run, which is 12 episodes. So we're at like the halfway mark as of this recording, and I love it, and I think people should check it out. That's Monster Next Door. Amanda, what is something you've been watching?
I started watching a Taiwanese drama.
Ooh.
It's a short mini drama from last year. It's called Venus on Mars. There's only 6 episodes, but they're like full-length episodes. And, okay. So the premise is the main character is a physics student. She's working in this office where they are working on creating a transportation device, like a teleportation situation. It's not working yet. Her boyfriend used to also work in this department until he either went missing or died. I'm not 100% sure what happened there. But his boss, the professor who's in charge of everything, even though she's a graduate student and she's not quite at that level that he can like hire her to do all the stuff right now, he keeps her in the loop out of like respect to her boyfriend and that like they were working on this project together kind of thing. She works with this one guy who is a bit of a dick, but like whatever. They, for some reason, like the device, which looks extremely phallic, like teleportation device, is very definitely designed after Dick and Balls, and you're like, that's weird. And so we're doing the show, and like,
okay,
everything is designed this way. It's very intentional. It falls into her purse, and then she's on her way off to a party where she, like, because she works all these odd jobs, she's working as sort of like a caterer, and she's at this party. He sees her. She's like, why do you have that on you? And she's like, well, I didn't want to just like leave it in the locker, so I stuck it in my pocket, so that I wouldn't lose it, right?
Listen, I've just got this dildo device. Don't worry about it,
And so the guy is at the party, and he's like, well, I'm going to take it back to the office. And she's like, no, like, this is my responsibility. I'm not letting it out of my sight. This is too important and everything. They fight over it. It's keyed to her thumbprint or DNA or something, which is only keyed to 3 people's DNA, and she's one of them. And somehow it winds up getting turned on. They fall in the pool, and the next thing you know, it's the next morning. She's naked in this pool, has no idea what happened. She climbs out and like finds a towel, finds some clothes, and goes out. But everyone seems shocked to meet her. Everybody is surprised. Well, she has teleported to a parallel world where women went extinct in the 17th century, causing men to need to speed up their, technology and stuff so that they wouldn't die. And they got the advanced science to, like, perfect cloning, apparently.
Oh, okay.
So,
like, if they were cloning, couldn't they just clone a couple women? Like, you know what? Whatever. Let's not think about it too deeply.
Yeah. So everything, she goes to, like, she doesn't realize exactly what's happened yet, but they do a really good job in this show of, they have some men in drag as women in the women's world, and then they like in the normal world, and then they'll have that actor play like the same character. So like there's a man who plays this like taxi driver, but in her world the taxi driver's a woman. But then they have a bunch of like other like men who sort of look like the female, and they style them so they look like the female characters. So like
that's interesting.
That's really cool.
Like, she decides to go home and she bumps into these two people, and the one guy looks exactly like her dad did before he died at a young age, and the other one is a man who looks very similar to the actress we've already met who played the mom, like is styled very similar. And she's like, Mom? He's like, why don't you call me Mom? Like, what do you know? So it's a whole controversy, and everyone's like, oh my God, a woman. And basically they treat her like an alien. They gotta, like, they capture her and take her back, but they all have, like, masks on.
Real Planet of the Apes situation. Yeah.
Yeah, right? And everything is, like, phallically designed, because of course it is, because it's a world full of men, and they have nobody to temper that nonsense. The guy also came through, and so there's two of him in this world now, and they're both very smart scientists, so they're like working together to try and figure out a way to send them back, because the rest of the scientific community wants to, run tests on her that will eventually end in dissection, because, hey, we've got a living female, so obviously what we need to do with her is tear her apart.
Classic men.
And so they're like, maybe we don't do that. That doesn't seem like a good choice. So I'm only about 2 episodes in. I might be on the 3rd episode. So like halfway. There's obviously not going to be a huge amount of stuff going on with this. There's only 6 episodes. But it's funny. And it's weird, and the actress is really cute. It's Ivy Shaw. She was in like Sweet Combat and a bunch of other stuff that I've seen. And the main character, the main guy who's playing these 2 different guys is Sao Yu-ning, who was in Triad Princess. He was one of the characters in there. And then the dead, missing boyfriend, who on this planet is neither dead nor missing, is played by Dino Lee, who's like a singer, pop star situation. So it's sort of interesting. She has not yet discovered that on this planet, her boyfriend is still alive. So that's going to be interesting when I get there, I suspect. But yeah, it's your typical like parallel worlds nonsense, but also kind of like you said, Planet of the Apes situation. It's very weird, and like the one guy is like, no, she seems really nice. She's a beautiful woman, and the guy from our world is like, no, on our planet she's really plain, and she's just no. Like, let me look up. They pull up like historical documents of other women with big boobs, and all this stuff. He's like, that's what a woman's supposed to be like, right? And he's like, I feel like she's got ovaries, and that's what a woman's supposed to be. Like he's sort of like, I don't know. All the historical texts say woman is this thing, so she's a pretty woman because she's pretty and she's a woman. Like, I don't know. I have not much to compare her to in this world where there have not been women for hundreds of years. So They have
ridiculous.
Like fossilized women remains. I'm like, okay, like even if they had gone with 100 years, maybe you'd be like, okay, maybe. But I just don't feel like the science was there.
Was there in the 1700s,
17th century, you know?
Yeah.
A lot. But apparently. So, yeah. It's interesting. It's a wild little, and it's short. It's cute and short, and it's on Viki.
It sounds funny.
So, yeah. How about you, Sky? What have you been watching?
So I'm going to talk about a YouTube miniseries. And I'm going to try to do this without giving any spoilers. So I know we usually do that, but considering how many is in this thing, like, so this is a handful of very, very short YouTube videos is what this is.
Okay.
It's one of those like 10-minute episodes, so then you're like,
oh, no. Like so I'm going to talk about long. Alien Stage. So these are tiny.
Oh,
tiny.
Yes.
Okay.
So I am currently obsessed with Alien Stage. I ran across just something on Twitter that made me curious about what these two characters were. So Alien Stage is, and I can tell you this is not ruining anything. It's essentially it is a sci-fi animation. It's Korean. They do have a lot of different subtitles on YouTube though, so they have English subtitles, obviously. Cool. Mm-hmm. And it's set where there are humans, and these humans are singing. They're on a singing competition. They're forced to be on a singing competition. As children, they're captives of various aliens, and the aliens force them to be, once these kids become adults, they are forced to participate in a deathmatch singing contest, is essentially what this is. It's really highly stylized. It's really, really cool. The design of all of the aliens and the characters and like the fashion, the sci-fi-ness of it all is really pretty. And so it centers around really the singing performances, but the way the story is told is primarily through, as the song goes, you're seeing flashbacks of what these characters did when they were kids, and it's not like telling you every tiny bit of what has happened to them. So it's really just through all these little flashbacks that you're putting together how all these competitors know each other. And then you see these competitions. So, warning for graphic violence. It's very Alice in Borderland, that type of level of violence type thing. So you kind of see how the characters are different, and it even just everything's implied, really. Like so if you're the type of person that needs everything explained, it is not going to be for you. Also, like, some blood and death, obviously. So it is heartrending. It's really, really good. The music is amazing. It is all on various platforms like YouTube Music, Spotify, of course, all of the Korean platforms. The character designs are really, really neat. And so it shows as you go through each round, which it seems like, there is no round 4, which I was very confused by. Like, I was like, where did round 4 go? So they get, like, there's a playlist of all these round 1, round 2, round 3. And then the last one, as far as I can tell, it's like the semi-final one, and then it ended like 4 months ago. And so I'm kind of confused, like, do we get like a finale? Like, anyway, there's, again, it's so implied, and I can't give you like details of all that, but there might be some queer themes. I will not confirm or deny. You can go figure it out for yourself. But really, really neat. Something I didn't even know was a thing. But it has a huge fandom behind it, evidently. Like, I had no idea. But really fascinating, really artistically cool. So if you like, animated character design type stuff, great music of various kind of genres. Like, there's one character that, like, he has a guitar, so he kind of is a little bit more of the rocker. There's one that's kind of more of a princely vibe to him, and so he's a little bit more ballady, but his song, that's a duet with a girl is a little more R&B smooth. So like a lot of the songs are just very different sometimes depending on who's in it. And when I say they're short, I'm saying 3-4 minutes. And like I said, it's not like, oh, and then here's another episode. It's some of them like have an opening sequence, but the opening sequence isn't really telling you much either. So it's like it really is through flashbacks when they were kids and things, and their interactions as kids that you see any of their relation to each other. But it is really neat. I just think it's really imaginative how they came up with this. And so then if you do, like, so I was listening to the songs on Spotify, and the artists for these various characters, like, they're no one that I've heard of before, and a lot of the names are very it makes me wonder, like, but the vocals on this stuff is great. So, anyway, really, really cool. I know it's totally not for everybody, but if you do like sci-fi stuff, dystopian for sure, that type of thing, and you love music, I would say go check it out. It's really neat.
Nice.
I am trying to figure out, like, are we getting more of it? Like, that's the part that I'm puzzled by. And as far as it's the official YouTube channel. It's not like someone went and like stole it and then put it. It's like it is the company that it's being pumped out from. So, but since it is Korean, it's not like I can easily go figure out like
especially if not a lot of people are talking about it like extensively in English speaking.
Right. It seems like I mostly find fan art. Like that's on Twitter. That's mostly what I'm seeing, or they had some official merch once upon a time, and so some people like, here's my stuff that I got or whatever. So I'm like, that's really cool, but it really does. It's like, is there an end? Should I be expecting more of this, or is this all? Is this it?
Is this it? Are we done? Yeah.
Do I get another song? I'm not sure. But it really was a really neat hybrid between all these things. So like, I really do think check it out. But yeah, you will be able to tell round 1 if it's the type of thing that you can handle or not.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. But I did think the alien design was really cool. It wasn't like, oh, one type of alien. It's like all the aliens were vastly different stuff. And as someone that likes Star Wars and Star Trek, it's so like I like all the different as opposed to like, oh, all one alien doing one thing. It's like, oh, whatever. But like it was kind of cool. So
nice.
Cool.
Sounds good.
So how about you, Jessie? What was your second thing?
So my second thing is I am currently watching, I'm not up to date with it, but it's a Japanese drama that is currently airing. It's called Umi no Hajimari. It stars our boy Meguro Ren. So good in everything that he does. And of course I was going to watch this. I had seen talk about this like months ago, and I was like, yep, this is exactly a drama that Jessie's going to absolutely love, and she definitely needs to watch it. And I am very much enjoying it. It is very much not like The Devil Judge by any stretch of the imagination. So essentially the plot is that there's this guy who he's in his like late 20s, early 30s, and he's kind of like started to establish his life. He's got a job, he's got a girlfriend, and he gets a call from a college friend saying that his old college girlfriend has passed away. And when he goes to the memorial service for her, he sees that she has a daughter, and then finds out, this is all happens in the first episode, I'm not really like spoiling anything. He finds out that that daughter is his daughter, who he didn't know was around, because back when they were in college, she had essentially told him that she was pregnant and immediately got him to sign the abortion consent form. So like she made it seem like she went to go do this, and then like very quickly after broke up with him. So like he was kind of like left clueless about everything at the end of their relationship. So the whole drama is essentially about the two connecting, figuring out like what the girlfriend was doing, like what in her life was the choice that she made to do this thing, and also just like trying to cope with this like loss of a person that you didn't get to, like, that you like deeply loved and was taken away, like, because of like being broken up with, but then also like never gotten to like reconcile that relationship like later on in life because she had passed away. It is it's not dark, but it's very emotional. It's very much a mellow. It has a lot of like kind of like very bittersweet and sad moments. There's like very touching moments with the mother, where she's like talking to her daughter's like memorial like shrine that she has in the house and stuff like that. And like there's a lot of like showing clips of like things that happened in the past. But the girl who plays the daughter, she's like 6 or 7 or something, is absolutely adorable. She's so cute. She's like on the level of the kid from Our Dining Table type adorable. They are, I mean,
okay, you've sold me.
So good. And she's just so like wanting to be around him, and he doesn't know how to like be around a kid. He's just like, I don't, what am I supposed to do with this child? And she's like basically just like telling him how to do things. But she's so sweet and she's so like precocious, and they are also kind of like touching on like her, you know, her journey through like really figuring out that like her mother is gone, but you know, and what the mother has told her about him. But she's so adorable. And they also, so they have a TikTok page that they post stuff onto, and it's really good because she's like exactly as adorable off screen as she is on screen. And so like it's like him and her just playing around on set, or she's like showing him how to do things, and super adorable. I'm just like, it's all around, I'm really enjoying it. Meguro Ren is like,
he's incredible. He's so good.
And like I think everybody else in the cast is doing really well. Like I really like the mother, the ex-girlfriend's mother. I think she's really great, and it's you know, it's really sad, and like it's like just sad in general because it's like the girl's so young to have passed away, but like there's a lot of like healing also going on in the drama itself. So.
It sounds lovely. It was like, I remember when we saw it was coming out, we were all like, "Ooh, I'm gonna check that out." Now it's moved up. I'm gonna definitely check it out.
Yeah. So. It's definitely. I like I thought I was going to really like it, and then I started watching, and I was like, "Oh, this is definitely something that I wanted and needed," and I really am like glad of how it is like unfolding. So
nice.
Cool.
What about you, Natalia? What's your second pick?
So, okay, I'm very generous with my ratings, as everyone knows, because I rate things based on how much I personally out of 10 enjoyed them.
As you
so
should.
Sometimes, as you should, this is a personal rating. Like I don't, it's fine.
It's
like
your rating,
yeah. But regardless of that, it is actually very rare that I rate a drama 10 out of 10. Usually, like the highest I go, like you gotta like be something insane for me to be like 10. Usually like 9.5 if I'm like, yeah, that was the tops. I this week have rated a drama 10 out of 10. I was taken in by the best Chinese historical I have ever seen, which is really wild because we all remember, well, people who follow us closely remember how much I loved Love Like the Galaxy when it came out, and I was like, Jet, okay. So I started watching a show. It's on both Netflix and Viki, so it's easy to find, and it's called The Double. Okay. One, I just want to point out, this is one of the most beautifully filmed shows I've seen in a while. Like, it's so stylish with how it's filmed, and like the lighting and like just the tone of everything is gorgeous. But it does have a bit of like a slightly complicated setup that I will explain right now, because it follows this. Okay, so it follows this woman who wakes up in the middle of the night, and she thinks there's like a naked man in her bed, and she assumes it's her husband. But then the guy like gets up, and that ain't her husband, and she's like, "What? Who the fuck are you? Like, who the hell are you?" So then her mother-in-law and sister-in-law barge in and are like, "You've been having an affair, you whore." And she's like, "I've never seen this man in my life." Okay. And then you find out very quickly that she is deeply in love with her husband. And like, this is just unthinkable to her. So they like tie her up, and then her husband returns from wherever the hell he was. And she's like, "You can't believe I did this. Like, I didn't do this." He's like, yeah. I totally believe you. Let's like run away. Like, cause like you're going to have a bad reputation in town. Let's just move away. You very quickly find out he was like the top scholar in the nation. Okay. So they're in like a carriage running away, and he's like, "Just here, drink this tea, like calm down, everything will be fine." She then realizes this tea might be poisoned, and she passes out. She then wakes up in a grave that he has dug, that he is burying her in. And she's like, "What the hell is happening?" Like, and he's like, "I'm sorry, I didn't want to do this, but I have to do this. Like, I have to do this, or she's gonna kill my whole family." And she's like, "Who is she? What the fuck are you talking about?" So then he hits her in the head with a shovel, and then buries her alive. Okay? Whoa. She then crawls her way out of the grave. All right? And then, like, falls in a river, and then finds herself like washed up on shore, where she is found by these two young women. And these two young women live at like, it's not like a convent, but it's basically where families will send their problematic daughters to like get rid of them for a while. And then you find out that this young girl, this is a young girl, and she's like 20, like a 20-year-old girl, and her maid, who've been there for 10 years because her stepmother accused her of pushing her down the stairs and causing a miscarriage when she was 10 years old, which she did not do. Okay. But then the girl is then like whipped to death by like the evil headmistress of this nunnery. And so the main girl, who has crawled out of the grave, like goes to the maid, and she's like, "Listen, I'm going to take her like identity, and you and I are going to escape from here, and we are going to go back to town and get revenge for the both of us." And so through like machinations, she does this, but then falls sort of like afoul, not really, of this fellow called Duke Zhu, who is basically like the guy who works for the emperor to like uproot corruption. And he's like stalking around in these sexy black hanfu with this like red cape. He uses a battle fan. He's so stylish. And he's like, "I think you're full of bullshit." And she's like, "No, I'm just this girl from the chancellor's family, like that's been in this nunnery for 10 years. So she then goes back to town, and since it's been 10 years and she was a child when she was sent away, none of her family knows what she looks like. No one's visited her in a decade. So she easily like infiltrates this family and begins getting revenge against the stepmother, but also getting revenge against her husband and her husband's family, and also whoever was behind the whole shenanigan, which you, in like the third episode, you find out who that is. It's like, okay. So that's the basic plot. This show is so wild. This show is so crazy. I was riveted for all 40-hour-long episodes. Okay? Like, usually you're like, okay, the lull has come. The lull never comes. You're just like, every time you think you're about to like, you know, like, oh, like, okay, now we're gonna get into like the filler episode. Just like, no. They're like, oh, we uncovered another evil plot that we're now, and it's just like, you're like, this is crazy. It has the slowest burn romance I have ever seen. Like, they were trolling us, okay, with this slow burn romance. Like, how, like, I was like on like episode, I think like 28, and I'm like, they've been flirting for so long. Like, please give us something. And they're like, we ain't gonna do it. So this was so good. And the male lead was also the male lead in a show I watched earlier this year, Scent of Time, that I enjoyed until the last 3 episodes, where I got unreasonably angry at how bad the end was. And he has redeemed himself in my eyes. It was so good. The actress was incredible. She has the saddest eyes. Just the most liquid filled eyes you've ever seen. Like, and there's lots of shots where they'll be talking to someone, but it'll be like you're the person they're talking to, and they'll be staring directly into your soul. It's so good. I cannot recommend the show enough. If you've never watched historical, maybe go with a shorter one first. There's a lot of shenaniganery that if you watch a lot of historicals, which I do watch quite a few historicals, you're used to, like, oh, of course there's some, like, you know, the evil chancellor who's like working behind, like, you know, like the vizier, you know, that type of situation, with like court politics and things that you perhaps would get lost in if you hadn't already seen a few. But if you are already fine with that, this show is so good. Like,
Natalia's been hitting me up going, hey!
I'm like, pick up the double. Sky, she wants double. I want to talk about the double with someone, please.
He wears red and black. I was
sending her images of his, like, costuming to be like, hey. There's also this one scene that I was literally, like, I just started laughing at because it was so absurd, but, like, I know why it was included, and, like, my husband was like, why are you laughing so hard? And there's this one scene where it's, like, the male lead is having, like, a real, like, emotional, like, struggle, like, you know, like, his moral compass, and they show this by him shirtlessly doing sword forms in the rain with, like, his hair whipping around and, like, dramatically, and I'm just so clear, like, for the plot. We needed him to be shirtless, dripping wet for the plot. Okay. But the show is so good. The show is so good. It's crazy. And the villain? Holy shit. Crazy. Absolutely insane. Incredible. I can't say enough. I don't want to say more because I don't want to, like, give away anything. Because, like, there's so, like, every time you think you know where it's going, it's suddenly like, we're gonna zig? You thought we was zagging. We ain't. We zigging. Like, it's good. It's good. The Double. You can watch it on Viki and Netflix. You should. It's great. Amanda, what's something else you've been watching?
My sister and I have picked up Behind Your Touch, a Korean drama from last year. Okay. Lee Min-ki and Han Ji-min and Suho from EXO. I was like, this guy looks so much like Suho. Yes, because he is.
It's him, yeah.
And it's wild. It's we're laughing a lot, but also it's dark. There's murder, so be aware. The premise is she is a veterinarian, and she was, like, orphaned in her teenage years. She went to live with her grandfather, who was a veterinarian. He has always been cold and standoffish to her, so kind of to win his affection, she did really, really well in school and went off to become a veterinarian so she could come back and work with him in the hopes that this would, like, endear her to him. It did not. Basically, she came back and he was like, cool, I'm retiring so that I don't have to work with you, kind of thing. She has turned what was, it's kind of a small town situation. She's turned it into more of a pet veterinarian instead of, like, her grandfather saw mostly farm animals and stuff. She's scared of cows. She doesn't want to go do that stuff, but that's how you make most of your money in a small farming situation. So she gets her aunt, her single aunt is the like secretary at this place, and is kind of obsessed with money. So she's like, no, I'm booking you for cows because, yeah. So she sends her off to cows on the night of this big meteor shower. And she and the farmer are like patting the cow down. She's getting there. The cow's pregnant and seems to be having some struggles. So she's got her hands on the cow's butt. She's, getting ready to get in there and do some stuff. And the farmer's calming down, touching the legs and stuff. And they get hit by a magical meteor, as you do.
As one does.
As one does.
Basically, she remembers nothing. She wakes up 3 days later in her bed. And they're like, well, you were tired. She slept for 3 days. I'm like, I feel like 3 days? You call the hospital? But, like, that's just me. She goes to work. She's feeling well rested. And, goes to work. And this guy brings in his dog, and the dog's not eating, and whatever, and she has her hands on the dog's butt, and suddenly she's seeing through the dog's eyes. She can see what the dog experienced, and so she can diagnose what the problem is. Like, this is that the dog is sneaking out and getting food from all the neighbors, so he's not eating when he comes home, right? And she's like, well, here's your problem. And he's like, you're the worst veterinarian ever. That's not a thing. And then he finds out it is a thing. And her business skyrockets because they're like, wow, she's a really good veterinarian. It also works on people. And there are situations like she accidentally touches the butt of a former classmate and sees a woman tied up in his home, begging for her life. And she's like, what the heck was that? What? And so then she goes home and she Googling this, looking for missing women, trying to see this woman. Nobody's reported her missing. Nobody, she's like, it must have been a fluke. It must not work right on humans. Mm-hmm. She tries testing it on her best friend. No, she's getting nothing out of her best friend when she grabs her best friend's butt. Turns out her best friend wears butt padding, so she wasn't getting a good,
Yeah, she wasn't getting a good grip in there, yeah.
But there's also Lehman Key, who is a big city detective who had a scandal, and now he's been sent off to the small town. And he thinks she's a perv because he keeps seeing her touching people's butts. And, so he keeps calling her a perv and stuff. Eventually, he discovers that she has this ability because she goes to him and is like, there is a woman who has been kidnapped. You have to go find her. And he's like, you touched somebody's butt and saw this? That doesn't...
That's absurd.
But eventually, he believes her, so he's trying to, train her hands to do better, but it just makes calluses and then they don't work right. So she's like, no, it's the opposite. You need to take. So now he's taking her out for manicures and stuff to get her hands soft and supple so she can it's the nonsense of this. So if she puts her hands on and she does this, she can scroll through your memories and stuff. And I'm like, okay, she's just moving her. If I move my fingers this way, I can, go weeks. And if I move my fingers this way, I can go hours. And she's perfecting the whole thing. There's, and then there's also maybe a serial killer. I'm about a quarter of the way in, and they're setting it up very strongly that Suho is a serial killer. And I really don't want him to be because he's just a sweet bean. But he's a sweet bean.
Who knows? Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I know the answer to that, but I won't be telling you.
Yeah, it's wild. It's weird. It's very, very weird. Very Korean. Let me just say, it's so comedy, but like also good. They like her best friend is like kind of like one of those high school gangster type girls who grows up to still be a little bit like she's got her crew, and whenever they need to do something, they call, she calls on her girls to come in, and they're all like, yes, Uni, yes, Uni. And then one of her girls has recently had a baby, and so she can't make it, but she wants to be supportive, so she sends her brother.
That's my favorite plot line of the whole show is the brother, by the way. It's so good. We love it.
And he calls her Honey, and she's like, stop calling me that. Like, that's so weird. And he's like, no, Honey. Like, he's like the best of the gang. Like, he's so into it, and it's so good. Like, that side plot is so much fun. And, yeah, and there's something going on with the like mayor of the town, this like politician guy who her grandfather like spends a lot of time with him, but also there's a lot going on. So there's a lot of mystery and a lot of comedy and a lot of nonsense and a lot of butt grabbing. A lot of butt grabbing. And Lee Min Ki looking absolutely outraged by all the butt grabbing. So, which is delightful. How about you, Sky? What else have you got?
So, I have talked about this show before, but I'm going to talk about it again because I've been watching a lot of it. Beauty and Mr. Romantic. I am back in it. And if I had more time in the day, I would be fully caught up. But I only have so much time in the day. And I did watch some other things. So, like, you have to have some variety in life. But, Beauty and Mr. Romantic, I am... Let's see how many episodes. 29 episodes out of 50 so far, which, contextually, listeners, you have to understand, I'm really bad at, like, not finishing shows just because I get distracted and, like, I pretty much have to binge shows in order to finish them because I get distracted in life. And so, the fact that I'm 29 in means, like, I'm really into it and I will be finishing this drama. It is my first Weekender that I am watching every scene of. I have gleaned parts of Weekenders before. I usually cannot give the time of day for like every single plot line though. Like usually I kind of focus on like just a plot or two is all I can really handle because usually there's at least a third one that I'm like, I do not care. But Beauty and Mr. Romantic is pretty fun. I'm not saying that every single plot line is equally fun to watch because it's
a Weekender, right? Like there's usually like the C plot that you're like, oh god, we're back here again. Okay,
right? Yeah,
like can we just move on and then it'll keep repeating itself? Okay, whatever. But it does feel like they do keep it pretty short. At least it's not like super extended. Typically, it's like by the time I'm almost like, you're pushing me to my limit. It's like, okay, we're gonna bring you back to the people you care about. Like, thank you. Like that is what I need. So I'm not gonna give you any spoilers because if we're by episode 29, things have happened that I will not divulge. But trying to think. There's just a lot that happens in this show. It does, so just to reiterate, it does center around Park Do-ra, which she is a actress, and then you have the main guy, and he is Go Pil-sung, or he kind of has two names. It's a whole thing. You'll figure it out later. And he's an assistant director, but the thing is, you see them first as kids for like the first 4 episodes, so you see them meeting as kids and their families and their interactions. Then and the things that occur those first 4, I think it was 4 episodes, don't think it was more than that, it shapes the entire rest of the show, not just the next bit. No, like it keeps there are machinations that keep happening because of the things that happened when they were kids, not because of them, because of everyone around. The families are wackadoodle because of course they are. possibly one much more than the other.
Her mom is a delight.
Oh. She's meaning delight very sarcastically when she's saying
yes.
So and the main actress is Im So Hyung, and then you have Ji Hyun Woo. So yes, that is like they're great. The kid actors were great too. I do want to be clear, like the kid actors were very, very good, but it is actually really fun. Like they're pretty good comedic parts, definitely in the first bit. It does get pretty dark. There's trigger warnings for mentions of suicide and child abuse. Like there's a lot of stuff in this show that I'm not sure I would have guessed would be in a Weekender, because again, I'm not as familiar. I haven't watched an entire Weekender before.
Not in a family Weekender. You don't always expect to see that in a more family style, as opposed to those like really heavy Mac J Weekenders. Like, yeah, you expect that but this one seems lighter, so you don't always expect to see that.
It definitely shows the like dark underbelly of stardom, like drama stardom and things. And like I always like shows that kind of talk about kind of behind the scenes type of jobs. So like I think I always like that. I think that's also what's helping me like be pretty interested in what's going on with these characters. Like I feel invested because I watch a lot of dramas, of course. So like that's something I like to kind of watch. There's a lot of accents that get used, like dialect stuff that's really fun to listen to. Like, of course, I have no idea, like, these huge differences, but the noticeable stuff is always pretty, because you can tell how the other characters are, like, reacting to these dialects, and it's pretty fun. But yeah, just some of the outfits, just, it's a really good time. Oh, and one side note, not that anyone cares except for me, but I got a kick out of it. I don't even have any Calico Critters, but Calico Critters has to be sponsoring this show. Has to be. Because, so here, at first, I was like, okay, there's a lot of Calico Critters. There's this character that she had an accident, so she is, like, mentally stunted, like, back kind of 12-ish, even though she's, like, 20-ish now. So, of course, she has, like, Calico Critters, like, all over her room, and she literally plays with them. And it's like, okay, got it. Like, that makes complete sense. No, you start seeing them, like, in the main actress's room, and you start seeing them in the other, like, younger woman's room. And I'm like, every single younger lady has at least 2 sets of Calico Critters in her room. I'm like,
they're so hot these days.
I just don't know why. What is going on?
What are we doing here? What are we doing with these?
Well, and then there was one episode later on when the main characters, as a gesture, like a romantic, cute gesture, gives a Calico Critter set to her. I'm like, okay.
That is 100% a sponsorship now. Like that is.
She's like, that's cute. I'm like, that is cute, but this feels forced. Like, the character had never mentioned she was into those types of things. Right. There's no lead up to this. It's like, what are we doing? And then they, like, almost kiss right at that moment, too. I'm just like,
listen,
I feel very sponsored.
You know what says romantic to me? Calico Critters. You know?
If you're wondering what a Calico Critter is, it's these felt, like, they're these little plastic flocked, so they're a little fuzzy animals of various sorts with little clothes and
they are sets. Very cute.
That's the whole thing.
They are.
But they typically are for much younger. There's not a lot of, like, grown women who are
I had really already clocked, like, okay, that one character, and then it kind of showed up in the, I'm like, what is going on? Interesting. And then they had that scene, and I lost it. I was like, okay, we are trying to sell some Calico Critters today.
Got it.
Boyfriends are going to be thinking it's a thing you can go get any girlfriend. Which, like, I gotta tell you, not every girlfriend necessarily wants a Calico Critter large playset in her bedroom.
I'm sure there are some, but
there's some, just not everyone.
For sure.
And I also don't think it is always a lead into a romantic moment.
Incredible. You know what? I love that energy. I'm a fan.
I mean, forget Dyson vacuum cleaners. Let's go calico critters.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
I will say, this show has a lot of, like, punishing other characters kind of for the sins of the family or the sins of other people in their family, and that is something I really struggle with, like, being, like, watching. Like, it's like, gonna get through this. I'm glad I pushed through it, because there's other, like, themes that I can't really talk about that later on that are, like, I'm really, really into. And so, as the show shifts into some other stuff, like, I'm really, really enjoying. But, for a bit, it was very, okay, I'm done with punishing others for the sins of the family type stuff, like, on either side, just a lot of those things. Is that a typical Weekender thing? Is it very sins of the family type?
Oh yeah.
It's usually very, your family has affected what stuff is going to happen or come your way.
It is also sadly a very common thing in Korean culture.
Yeah.
That's a very big thing.
Yeah.
Oh, another thing I found wild, just again, because I'm not used to Weekenders as much, and I had noticed this in the one other Weekender that I watched pretty big bits of, but okay, I'm an only child from a very quiet household, so watching these characters to where, like, they'll have a conversation with each other, and then that character will leave the bed. It'll always be a bedroom, because usually, shot in these various bedrooms. That character leave, and there's already other characters, like, right at the door, or just barging in immediately.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And it's, what did you say to them? And just like, immediately, all the time. And I'm like, this is what, like...
No, eavesdropping is a family tradition. And also, like, usually, like, people, like, if you're fighting like that, like, people can hear you anyway, like, because you're getting heated. And so, like, we'll all be listening.
Well, definitely, like, yelling. Anytime they're yelling and they think they're gonna win, I'm like, that's not gonna be, like, everyone heard that. Like, there's no way. But sometimes it's like, that person just barged in, and it's usually, like, some aunt or something, like, why is she barging into this room? What is going, like, I'm just not used to that, so, like, it was just really funny for me to watch that. Anyway, I'm having a really good time with it. Like I said, if I had, like, just a free weekend and I wasn't watching anything else, I'd probably be... It is not over. It is still currently airing. And I do want to say, it like, topped... I think it hit 20% viewership. So, like, it is incredibly successful.
Wildly popular Weekenders are.
Yeah, they're always
just, like, dailies always have crazy viewership, too. And it's so funny because I feel like, people in the West don't understand it because they're like, oh, but, like, I've never heard of that show. How did it have, like, 40% ratings? And I'm like, think about the ratings that the show Passions got back in the day. That's what we're dealing with right here.
Like, all the soap operas that are still on to this day.
Still
for
on.
40 years or whatever.
Well, because when you think about it, a lot of the regular dramas, they're geared towards, like, women in their 20s or something.
Yeah.
These are geared to middle-aged and older. Like, it's their main
source
of
entertainment.
Viewership is, like, women, like, 30 and older, and, like, including up to, like, 80. So that's, like, everybody. Like,
that's everybody.
They give everybody something.
And you know what? People love something audacious,
Yeah, they like that.
I mean, I got so into it, like, probably around episode 20 and onward. And so I was telling my husband, like, all about, like, this and that about it.
I do that, too.
And I kept on saying, it's a soap opera, like,
Yeah. I'll be like, honey, you will not believe what just happened on the show I'm watching. And, like, he'll sit there and he'll listen to me be like, oh yeah, that does sound pretty crazy. I don't care. But he's so nice. He's like, he'll just be like,
sure,
Weekenders are really good if you are into K-dramas and you like romance and you like more of a slow burn. They can be good for that because you're not going to get a slow burn in 16 episodes. You can't.
No.
Like, it can't burn that slow. So, sometimes in a Weekender...
Oh, you're going a while.
Like, come on already. So...
Mm-hmm.
So I'm having fun. Highly recommend, like, if you want to check out a weekender, I do think it's a pretty accessible one. Like, again, because of the job types of the leads and stuff, I do think, like, drama people would maybe, it would be a good one for them to check out if they want to try one.
So that brings us to the speed round. Woo-hoo! So, Jessie, are there more shows you want to very briefly tell people to check out?
So
or maybe not, or warn people against. That's also an option.
So I wanted to just say that the reason I'm not watching very many dramas is because I'm currently doing a movie challenge. It's by a horror social media person called Spooky Sarah Says. It's to watch 100 horror movies from August 1st to Halloween. And they all have to be new to you, a horror movie. So that's why
a little tricky for you. You've been at the game for a while.
That's what I'm doing. I did it a couple years ago, and I did it all Asian horror. I'm not doing it this time, all Asian horror, because last time was COVID, and I didn't have a job, so it was like really easy to like sit in front of a TV and watch Asian horror all the time. I can't really do that with this one. While I am watching some Asian horror, I'm watching things in my language, which is like really helpful because I could do the dishes and watch the thing, you know. I have to be able to do that with all the like movies that I have to watch. So that's what I've been primarily watching. I am doing really spectacular on my goal. I am at 55 right now.
Wow.
So,
you're chugging along.
The first month, I am like, I really wanted to be halfway. My kind of goal is to finish everything by the end of next month. We'll see. Because I do have like a lot of like movies that I just want to watch that I've already watched before. So it's like hindering that. I'm like, come on. But I'm trying to see, like, I haven't watched a lot of Asian horror, but I did watch some, and I'm gonna briefly go through my list to name them out, and then if you want to like me to talk about them more, just at me at Wine and a Kdrama. I'm everywhere. So I did watch the Grotesque Mansion. It's also called Ghost Mansion, that has Sung Joon in it. We all love. It's Korean.
Yeah, it's a good one. I like that one a lot.
I watched Re/Member. It's a Japanese horror teen one that I really liked. It's on Netflix. Really easy to find. Grotesque Mansion is on Viki, I believe, and a bunch of different other
That's where
things.
I watched it. So it was at one time on Viki.
Yeah, so it's probably still there. That's probably what I did. I watched a Japanese movie from 1968 called Snake Girl and Silver-Haired Witch, which was a lot of fun. My current favorite movie that I watched is another Japanese horror movie from 1988. It's called Door. It's also like a psychological thriller. It's fantastic and crazy all at once. Perfect.
Door, you said? Like D-O-O-R?
Yeah, D-O-O-R. Yeah. Okay. And I watched it on Screambox. But I think it might be on Tubi as well. Mount Chiak, which is a Korean horror. That was okay. Sick Nurses is a Thai slasher. Very fun. Two Sisters is a Malaysian horror movie. I finally got to watch Urban Myths, which is it's not the second season of Godam because it's not like a series. But like it is the second season of Godam, which is Godam is on Netflix. I watched Urban Myths on Tubi. Nice. But like, Shonu's on that one. So if you're looking for Shonu, he's there. I watched
Aren't we always?
I watched The Cursed Lesson. It's Korean. What else? Grotesque, which is really fucked up Japanese horror. Most people will not want to watch that one. That was
that was a bit much. That one was a bit much.
A little bit much. I found an anthology that just dropped on Screambox at the beginning of the month called Body Parts, Korean. And then I think I watched this weird but kind of great Japanese horror movie called New Religion as well, and that's I think it's so far in Asian horror land that I've watched for this challenge. I'll update
That's fun.
more next month, and we'll see if I get to my 100 by the end of next month, so I can just like
I believe
watch
in
whatever
you.
I want.
I believe in you.
October.
I believe in you, Jessie. I believe in you. You can do it.
Thanks, guys.
You can do it.
Okay, I was on vacation, so I've been tuning out my family by watching lots of dramas. I did, okay, I'm not even gonna name them because I don't want to expose myself this way, but I got like stupid into these very terrible Chinese web dramas that you can watch for free on YouTube on the WeTV YouTube channel. They all have like the same plots recycled with new actors. It's chef's kiss. It's not well acted, not well filmed, not well written, but they're like an hour and a half each. But they were clearly made for a different app. So like when they're on YouTube, scenes will just be silent, and that's where the copyright music is cut out of it. And they've got a certain something that are really nice to watch on a bus when you're just stuck on a bus. Okay. So I've been watching those, but there's like a billion of them. I won't even name them because you can just, they all have names like, oh, the CEO marries the secretary to avoid, and you're just like, okay, yeah. Sure. But I have actually been watching like good shows too. Not just those. Sure. I've gotten really into the Republican era vampire drama, Snowfall.
Oh yeah,
which is on Vic. So stylish. Vampires. Like they're not like vampires, but they're
still vampires.
Like, you know, they're just vampires.
Vampires in all forms. Okay.
No, but like it's one of those like I don't know, maybe the Chinese government hated vampires because this was clearly just supposed to be like regular vampires, but they're like, no, they were imbued with vampire powers from like an alien meteor stone. You know how it goes. Okay, like, but it's very
vampires are
aliens are acceptable. Got it.
Yeah. But they're not aliens. They're just affected. They were humans, but now they're vampires. Win-Win from Wavy is in it. He's very fun. He's very fun in this. I finished Love Sea on iQIYI. It was fine. Like, what I sort of love about the show is like no plot, but we know you like these two actors together, so we're just gonna put in a lot of like shirtless smut. You'll be fine. Like, yeah, okay. This is a very inappropriate time for you to be having a romantic tryst, but you know what, fellas? Do what you want to do. It was fine. Like I watched it and I didn't hate my time watching it, you know, but you're just like, that was a solid 6 out of 10. Good job. Good job. I watched the J-drama Business Marriage because of course I did. It was a Japanese contract marriage.
I think I watched that.
It was okay. Like it was cute.
It's fine. Yeah.
It was cute. You know, it had Rikoku from Cherry Magic as the male lead. It was sweet. It was just innocent, cute, but I say innocent, cute, but there's like this whole plot in the middle about them like, we can have sex and not be in love, and you're like, okay,
okay,
sure,
whatever.
Let's enjoy this plot. Yeah, whatever you say, champ. I also watched while I was on vacation the entirety of a C-drama that just finished airing called You Are My Secret. It was super cute, and it was basically like this girl has been broken up with, had been broken up with like a year previously by her doctor boyfriend because he wanted to like get a good career before he asked her to marry him. So then he broke up with her instead. Genius. But then like one of her high school friends comes back to town and like sparks fly. And so he's like, hey, let's get married because like my mom's dying of cancer and like she really wants me to get married and you want to move out from your parents' house. Like we can make this work. And so they get married, but then they find out that he's now been transferred to be her boss at the bank that she works at. And so they have to then keep their relationship a secret. Hence the You Are My Secret. It's very cute. The female lead is played by Carlina Zhang, and she's so sweet. She was just so likable. And then the male lead was played by Wei Jiming, who I've pretty much liked in everything that I've seen him in. So it was a good time. It was a good time. I really genuinely enjoyed it. It was 32 episodes. I thought it was 24 when I started it. And then I realized we were getting up on episode 23 and nothing had been resolved yet. I was like, oh, wait a second. This is still going. But I did enjoy it. I watched Century of Love, which is on Gaga La. Basically, dude witnesses the girl he's in love with get shot and killed, and then makes a deal with a goddess to like live for 100 years until she gets reborn so they can like be together. And then coming up on the 100-year mark, where if he doesn't find her reborn persona, like he'll die. And then his like priest friend is like, I found her, she's been reborn, but she's a guy now. It was Dow Off-Road, which if you know them, they're like a chip couple. It's a Thai show. Very, very fun show.
Did you say Off-Road was the couple?
Yeah, no, his name is Dow and Off-Road. So Dow is one guy and Off-Road is the other guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. And they're very cute together. They're incredibly cute together. The show is very dramatic. Like, it's very dramatic. Okay, like there's gunfights. There's like the Dow who plays like the guy who's been waiting for 100 years. He's like a martial artist. Like, he kicks people and like, you know, he has like a bunch of, you know, he lives with like this family that's like been taking care of him. Like, their descendants were taking care of it. Like, it's, you know, it's so ridiculous. I enjoyed every possible second of it. It was fun. I started one called Battle of the Writers, mostly because it has Tudor Yim in it, who were in Cutie Pie, and the sequel to Bed Friends, Middleman's Love, and they're cute. And basically they play like writers who one of them gets accused of plagiarizing the other, and then the other one's like, nah, they didn't, and they start working on a book together to like prove that they're cool with each other, and then they end up living together, and oh no,
they were roommates.
No, yeah. It has like these random cameos from characters from the show Playboys, which I was like, Ariana, what are you doing here? It's very like bizarre, but I'm enjoying that. That's on where is that one? It says it's on iQIYI, but that is a lie. But you can watch it on YouTube. I'm sure it's on iQIYI somewhere, but not in Canada. So I don't know where other people be watching it, but you can watch it on YouTube. But actually on iQIYI in Canada, I've also been watching I Hear the Sunspot, which is so good. It's a J-drama about a guy who's going deaf and his new college friend who takes notes for him in class. It's good. It's good in the way that slow J-dramas are good. It's just, chef's kiss. I love it. I also watched The Rebound, which is on Gagulala. It's another BL shocker. But what I liked about this one is that it really didn't know like how to balance like crises to be of equal like weight, because like on one hand you have like this guy who's like embroiled in this like trying to like leave a gang, and there's like, you know, this, you know, terrible gangster who constantly wants to pull him back in, but then on the other hand it's like, how will our basketball team get back to the finals? They're treated with like equal weight of like stress for people, and I'm just like, these are not equal things. So I enjoyed watching it because of how absurd I found the whole situation. And finally, because I've been giving my updates for 3 months now about the show Sunset X Vibes, that told me it was a fantasy show. And, like, I guess it is. I need to say it's not a good show. Like, the actors are doing, the actors are really good, but the writing is so stupid and bad that you're just like, I feel bad for, like, everyone working on this show, because it's written by someone who didn't know what they were doing. And they didn't know if they wanted to be just like an office secret romance drama, which would have been fine, or if they wanted to be like, oh, this past life fantasy drama, which would have also been fine, but they don't know how to balance the two into one show. And so you get to, like, episode 6 and nothing fantasy has happened, and suddenly they're like, here you go, it's a little sousam of fantasy for you. But I'm still watching it. I've got 2 episodes left, so I've got 1 episode left, which airs Saturday, so I'm sure next month I'll have an update for you.
Finally.
And other than that, I've been rewatching Veronica Mars because
of course. Why wouldn't you?
Veronica Mars. It's on Prime. It's on Hulu in America, I think. I just love Veronica Mars. Okay. I forgot how, like, horribly racist a lot of, like, the asshole characters in this show are. And then I'm watching, I'm like, damn, like, but they get called out for it every once in a while, and I'm just like, damn, like, this is just some, like, terrible, casual racism happening.
Yeah.
But it's, like, it's awful to listen to, but, like, you know that's exactly how these types of people are, so. Anyway, that's it for me. Amanda, please take it away from me.
I am watching The Trainee. It is a Thai BL on GMMTV. It's an off-gun series.
It's cute.
It is. It's a cute office story. Off-gun are always a delight together. Like, they're just clearly platonic soulmates who like working together, and it just works. I will say, Off is a 30-year-old man. He's a 30-year-old man.
Yeah.
For the love of God. He's playing a 21-year-old recent college graduate who's trying to get an internship. And everything about the character and the plot would work just fine if he was like 25 or 26 and just hadn't managed to get a job yet. This would all still work. And you wouldn't be trying to convince me that he was, and also, like, often, like, playing his age. So you've made an age gap that didn't need to be there.
Need to be an age gap, but
the balance, because Off is playing Gun's boss. It didn't need to be weird. You didn't need to make it weird.
Well, they made it weird, okay?
For no reason. So
fine. It's fine.
Well, I don't know. But it is cute. I am enjoying it for the most part. So, anime-wise, obviously, still One Piece, because,
we'll be there.
I think we're like 650, so, like, I'm over maybe
doing it.
Yeah.
At the halfway point, so, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. It does get a little repetitive when you get to episode, 678 or whatever, right? You're like, okay.
Like, how many things can you get up to in 600 episodes?
And I mean,
like, there's gotta be filler. There's gotta be filler.
You're like watching it faster than everybody else had when it first came out.
Yeah, that's true. It is funny because they'll do, like, whole episodes of, like, flashback, and we're like, we just watched, and then we're like, oh, yeah, but this was 2 years ago.
Yeah. Like, this was probably like the post end of the season, recap. Yeah.
Fair enough. I also started watching Spy X Family, which is delightful. It's so cute. It's so fun. If you somehow have been living under a rock and you're not familiar with this at all, it's a spy who needs to go undercover as a family man. He adopts a kid who happens to, like, be able to listen to read people's minds, like, hear their thoughts. And she's like, "Ooh, cool. Her favorite TV show is about a spy." So she's like, "I want to get adopted by a spy. Like, I'll tell him whatever he needs to hear so he will adopt me." And then, like, he needs a wife to make this, like, work.
Yeah, the whole family situation.
So they bump into this nice woman, and again, the kid can hear this woman's thoughts, and this woman is an assassin, and she's like, "What? Okay, this sounds good." So she, kind of engineers, like, get together. And we've reached a point now where they also have a dog that sees the future.
Bond.
Listen, it's such a good show.
And like, for a contract marriage, it's very good. It's very, like, I absolutely love one of the sort of first scenes of the two of them together. She's at a work party and she's like, "Can you pretend to be my boyfriend?" And he comes in and this, like, catty chick from work is like, "Did you know she used to be a whore? And he's like, "Wow, that's incredible. You're telling me she sacrificed herself to raise her brother when that was," he's like, "What an amazing thing that she
admirable."
Did. Right? So it's just like, oh, okay, it didn't go the way I was gonna go. And she's like, "Wow, he's not horrified." And she's like, "Actually, anyway, she never was a whore. She pretended to be a whore so she could kill people."
Yeah, she was an assassin the whole time, but
she's very, very good at her job. So it's a bit of a wild ride. And my son and I started watching The Strongest Magician in the Demon Lord's Army Was a Human.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's you were telling us about that.
So that one's it's fun. It's very, reverse harem-y and stuff. Basically, this human thinks that he's hiding it, and every single demon apparently knows that he's a human. But,
a classic.
Like, all the demons he works for all have figured him out. "Sir, you are not that good at hiding your humanity." But it's fun. That is what it is, So, and that's, And I'm watching English stuff with my husband because he falls asleep and can't watch subtitles. So we're watching Beacon 23, which is a wild little sci-fi thing that's going on.
Fun.
So, how about you, Sky? What else have you got?
So I watched a few episodes of a few things, so I'll go through them real quick. I picked up Love Next Door. Okay. Give it a little try. I watched the first 2 episodes. I haven't gotten around to the next round of episodes yet. Pretty charming, really cute, very I don't want to explain all of it, but it's childhood friends, but they're friends because their moms are friends.
Yeah.
But the moms are like bickery friends in the first place. Like the moms aren't even like really amicable. It's more like they're pretty competitive. So even about their adult children, these moms are competitive about like their success levels to each other. And that is not really why these 2 now adults are kind of rivalry too. It's really their personalities. Like it really comes down to personality between these 2 now adult, used to be kids. The kids are cute, like the actors that play the kids are really cute. And I want to say right now, so this show, everyone is acting really well, and if you think anyone is acting poorly, you might just not be used to watching an introvert character, and I want you to think about if that's maybe what you're experiencing.
Every time.
And I get really frustrated about that because, okay, so Jung Hae-in's character is an introvert, like a pretty serious-minded introvert. The moment I saw this character acting this way, I'm like, ooh, I am me, you, like, I see that, yes. Mm-hmm. And the way everyone, there are a lot of other people that are like, he's not cut out for rom-coms, he's not able to His character is an introvert.
Yeah.
And
You're just putting your own assumptions on this character.
And the whole point is Jung So Min's character is very not an introvert and very kind of a mess, kind of spice of life type person. And so even when they were kids, he's always been a serious-minded introvert. And she thinks she's making his life way better, and that's not always the way he sees it because he's an introvert. So like, so hopefully people are recognizing that. I'm just saying that is my little soapbox of like, and if you don't like it, that's totally cool. Like, you don't have to like the show, but please do not insist it's because of his acting abilities. I've seen him in other shows. I've seen his other like puppy dog smiley characters, and this is not that. Got it. He is an introverted character. First episode, he's not really smiling. He's acting different. That's how acting works.
Acting works?
Yeah, he's playing a different character.
Crazy.
So that's Sky's little introverted soapbox moment for Love Next Door. It is cute. The cast, like the families, you recognize every single person in these families. We also have Seung-hyub from In Flying being the brother of the lead girl. Often shirtless, he's a bodybuilder, so that is a thing if you wish. He also is pretty much acting like In Flying Jaehyun. He is acting like an absolute dork the entire time. So that's fun. Also, I'm enjoying like the second lead girl, Kim Ji-yeon. She was in, I'm totally blanking on the drama. Whatever that really actiony drama I watched with Nam Gung-min in it, whatever it was. She was in it that I really liked. So like I always, anytime she pops up, I'm like, yes. And then Yoon Ji-yeon, we've seen him in that Grim Reaper show Tomorrow. So lot of people that we recognize. So that one's on Netflix. It is good. I will be probably continuing to watch this one, and I know it's highly popular, so there's probably a lot of people looking into that. I of course did pick up Romance in the House, because Astro Sanha is in it, so of course I picked that up. Romance in the House, it centers around pretty much a divorced couple, but it's the mom had raised the kids for a lot of, got divorced a little bit earlier on. I think the daughter was around, like, let's say 13, 14, it seemed like. And the daughter, machinations happened, and the daughter was like, you need to leave. You keep ruining our lives financially. Like, be gone, Dad. Like, stop ruining our life. You've totally destroyed Mom's livelihood, her food business that we have. Like, you need to leave. So, then the dad kind of leaves, and they do not see him for a long, long time. Then he becomes their landlord. It's a whole thing. He tries to ingratiate himself again, and of course the daughter, who is now the breadwinner of this struggling family, and has been trying to finally give her mom some financial relief after the mom has sacrificed so much for them. And so of course the daughter's like not having that, like totally not okay with the dad trying to win the mom back just because. I'm gonna admit right now, not liking the show, not gonna be continuing with the show, can't really handle that. But
fair enough.
Yeah.
If you just want kind of the silly, funny ha-has of that, I guess, like, they are leaning into that. There are cute moments. You have Minho, like, that's a good selling point. That's quite enough for some people to keep watching. Totally fine. Jijin, he's a good actor, but like his character, it's hard to watch. It's hard to watch for me. I don't know. Like, patriarchy is nasty, and don't re-accept gross men back into your life ever. I don't really care. So like, show-wise, it makes it hard for me to be like, this is cute. Like, there's aspects of it that are cute, but not like the main thing going on in the show. Like, Minho's character and the daughter, cute, super, like, great, love it. but the whole like crux of what's going on. And
you're like, but fuck this guy. Yeah.
I saw someone describe it as it's essentially a love triangle between, you know, the mom, the daughter, and the dad. And I'm like, that's the problem. There should not be the dad part of that triangle. Like, these two other people have, like, they fully rely on each other and have sacrificed everything for each other. And then you have this douchey dad.
Yeah, this asshole.
I don't care.
Yep.
And there's, you know what? There's probably some reveal later. Guess who doesn't care?
Yep, you.
Like, there's really no excuse for what happened, so I don't really care. I'm taking it too seriously. Introvert, serious-minded. It's not passive for me. So, I also checked out, and I will continue to check out Cinderella at 2 a.m.
Oh,
so that's a new one. It's on Viki, I think, if I remember right. Yes. And so it has Moon Sang-min in it, and Shin Hyun-bin, which she's awesome. Awesome. Super fun so far. Oh, you also have Yoon Bak. Like, there's a lot going on. The first episode or two, whatever I watched, it just sets it up. It's the one that we talked about whenever we hadn't watched it yet, and we were like, this is the one where the Chable mom offers the girlfriend money, and she's like, okay, and she takes it.
She's like, hell yeah, okay, sure.
And sounds good to me.
And so like the first episode-ish or whatever, it was very much just setting that up and like, this is what happened and like why. She loves him, but like she doesn't want to feel cruddy for being in a relationship with a Chable, and she didn't know he was a Chable this whole time until like a month before she met the mom face to face. And she works at that company that the mom is a main shareholder of and stuff. And then figuring out, oh, like the vice chairman or whatever is the brother. Like, you know, just, she's like, this is not me. Like,
I don't want to
I work. I'm a team leader. I do my stuff. I don't need to be playing this game. But they actually were a really cute couple and they really loved each other. So like, that is the problem. I really did enjoy it. It's obvious at the end of he's not going to give up. Like he's trying to respect her wish on some level, but they love each other, and so he's not going to give up on that. And so he's gonna try to take power and, you know, convince that he's worthy of the shenanigans of putting up with a Chable. Which, like, again, realistically, do not Pesco.
No.
Run away. But this one felt more charming to me than the romance in the house situation. So, like, anyway, that's the difference. That's my logic behind that. Watching Devil Judge, we talked about that already.
Yes.
And yes, I did binge Interview with the Vampire Part 1 so far. I need to watch the second season or Part 2 or whatever you want to call it. I do wish to say, Interview with the Vampire Part 1, and it was only 6 or 7 episodes. I think 7. That is on Netflix now, but just for the USA and just Part 1. So to be clear, but I just want to say the storytelling is amazing. Just the way the narrative unfolds and the way they use flashbacks and things is really, really cool. It's shot really well. Of course, trigger warnings for like anything, you know, blood, nudity, whole 9 yards. Probably not for everybody, but very well done. Very, very well done. So I will be checking out the rest of that whenever I get some time. But I really do recommend it. I have never watched like any other Anne Rice inspired movies or anything. So like it was nice coming super fresh to it. So all the little shocking bits were shocking to me since I know absolutely nothing. And I did that on purpose. Like I've known this has been popular for a while.
You wanted to go in blind. Yeah.
Right. Like I had clocked the gay vampire show a bit ago. Like I knew it was there.
I was aware of the gay vampires.
It's just, it suddenly was staring at me on my screen. I was like, okay, like I'm gonna press go because I've seen enough. So I really did enjoy it. I do recommend it. But that's it.
Oh, and with that, that's it for us.
Yep.
So thank you for listening. We'll be back to our regular schedule from now on, which is every Monday, new episodes. So it's gonna be good times. So you can listen to us wherever podcasts can be found, but also, if you want video, we're on YouTube. Please do the like and subscribe thing that they tell us to do on YouTube, apparently. And to our 10 YouTube people, hi.
Hey.
We love you, 10 YouTube people. Hello, friend. But if you want to time codes, links, and everything, so if you're wondering if you missed where a show was and you want to link to it, you can go to our website, certifiednoonas.com, where all of our episodes have a blog post with links and time codes and everything. So that is there. And if you want to support this podcast, God bless you, you can go to patreon.com/certifiednoonas to join the Certified Found Family. The Certified Found Family is our family on the web. We give them little mini extra episodes here and there, and we love every single one of them. We have a movie night every month. It's so much fun. Our Found Family is the best. We love y'all. Another heart to the Found Family. Boop, boop. Anyway, we hope you have a great week. COVID be running wild. On my vacation, my mom got COVID, and it was a nightmare, okay? And I managed to avoid it because guess what I do? I wear a mask all the time, and I sanitize everything around me. So, as we always say, I know we harp on it, but please, if you've given up masking, you can just start again. It's totally fine. And any mask is better than no mask. So... anyway, take care of yourselves, everyone. Stay safe out there. And as always, do all that and keep enjoying Asian entertainment. We'll be back soon. Bye.
Bye.